I am an activist and a healer, an agent of change, and I recognize that I knew early on that my gift of song would really be my gift to the planet as an agent of love and healing. And so, you know, my father as this freedom fighter and this change maker, he did it in the way that he was destined to do. And that same light and that same vibration that was planted inside of me shows up in art form. And so, you know, when I sing songs like, oh, freedom, oh, freedom, oh, freedom over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Those were the old spirituals, the old protest songs that Mommy and Daddy taught us. And so when we marched and we protested, those are the songs that were implanted in me. And thus I began to hear the Spirit talking through me and sharing songs. This is a freedom song meant to go around the world. Critical time everywhere in the world. Wake up, 'cause we stand at war. Ask yourself, what are you living for? So you say you're a no-limit soldier, but you're living off the lies that they told you about what and who you are. You ain't never been a thug, you was born a star. And so the connection from the old to the new was really about there's this same force, this same light that it transcends time. And so for me, that same light inside of him is the same light inside of me, and I did it my way. I've really never known anybody like him. I have known and known of powerful warriors, freedom fighters, change makers, but I've never really quite known anybody with the combination that he is. He is by far the smartest man I have ever known. And in terms of legacy, I guess, when he talks about fearing God, not being able to occupy the same space, you know, people talk about these things, but to live it to the extent that he lived it was really otherworldly. And I really believe that he made a deal with the Creator, with the universe, with the divine, and said, and the universe said to him, as long as you are moving through this planet as an agent of change, as a truth teller, as an agitator, as a healer, as a mystic, we will protect you. And so, you know, Daddy was so legendary in so many different ways. You know, you don't see that mix that he was. You know, he started out as this legendary comedian that paved the way, pioneer that paved the way for all the other black comedians that came behind him. But then he becomes this iconic civil rights and then human rights legend. And then he moves into this whole health and healing movement. And, you know, I run into hundreds and thousands of people around the world, and I always say if I had a dime for every time someone told me that he saved their life or changed their mind, I know that he's responsible for literally millions of people becoming vegetarians. And that's just one component of who he was. And so, you know, he was, most of who he was not human. And the more that unravels about him, even after his passing, the more I know that to be true. He has passed down and downloaded so much inside of me and inside of us, his children, that it's an amazing feeling to know that you are living in a family that had a target on your back your entire life, and to also know that you're invincible. I can't explain the feeling, but I know it's something that came from him, and ultimately that came from the creator, the universe. So he planted something inside me that I could never get away from. He planted a desire to want to leave my environment better than I found it. That's the legacy. Leaving his environment better than he found it. He always did that. He always brought a vibration, a frequency, a truth, and an abundance that wasn't there before he got there, or wasn't manifested or realized. And so he always raised the space. You know, even when you got cursed out by him, you got blessed by him. He was, in his anger, in his fury, he was coming with so much passionate love for you. Black man, black woman, black child, human being, Native American, woman. He had so much love, and that's, you know, a lot of times people didn't understand why he's so angry. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, when Daddy would say, you know, shut up and listen, yeah, he meant shut up and listen to him because he was qualified to say that, but he also meant stop talking and listen to the universe. There's a rhythm. Daddy always talked about a rhythm, a rhythm, a rhythm. And I understood his rhythm, and part of my rhythm came from his rhythm. And he knew that in order to tap into your own God voice and your own God-given God spirit and that rhythm, you had to turn the phone off. You had to turn the television off. You had to keep your ear to the ground. That's why he spent so much time in nature. He spent so much time fasting, not just fasting from food, but fasting from talking. I mean, we grew up, oftentimes, even when he was home, we couldn't talk to him because he was in the midst of a talking fast, because he was in the process of having information downloaded from the cosmos. If you know more than the Creator knows, then you're going to miss it. If you talking while the universe is trying to talk to you, you're going to miss it. And so part of his legacy was understanding that there's nothing to figure out. It's simply you listen, you pay attention, and as long as you are willing to go for the ride that the Creator has mapped out for you, then it's set. You don't have to show up knowing how. That's for the greater force to figure out. And so the legacy for me is really about somebody who got out of the way of the universe doing its work and saying, I'm just going to be the vessel. I'm just going to surrender. And I'm going to have faith that in the midst of the death threats and in the midst of the hostility and the hatred, that I'm untouchable. Because who sent me is a force that your guns can't touch, force your guns can't even see. And so there's no amount of physical might, there's no amount of racism, white supremacy that can stamp out that kind of fire. Which is why when Daddy talked about, you know, even in the civil rights movement, when they would be marching, you know, with sharecroppers who couldn't even read or write, grandmothers on canes, babies who were so young didn't even know what they were fighting for. But there they were with no bombs, no guns, but a force, a fire, a song. And they got sheriffs and state troopers and federal guardsmen with guns pointed right at them. And they see fear in their eyes, not the people's eyes.
1932, somehow Mama knew God had a plan for you. With a light around your head, someone tried to hurt you, but you made them laugh instead. Funny man, superstar, change of plans, the movement called 10 kids and a wife, but human rights became your life. Like all the other universal pearls, Daddy, you belong to the world.
The biggest thing that I would say around how to help other people find their light is just listen. Get off the phone, get off the computer, spend some time in nature, and listen to nature. Like really listen to nature. Spend the night outside and see how that feels. And really just listen, because it's all there. The blueprint is there. If we stop talking, we will hear everything that we're meant to hear and everything that is destined for us. And that's it. Hi, I'm Ayanna Gregory, and you're watching Real Black.